Well, welcome everyone. I'm Ashley Klingensmith, State Director with Americans for Prosperity, Pennsylvania. I am elated to have you joining us today, where our focus is really going to be on the increased burden each and every American is feeling as it relates to energy costs. We're going to follow up the conversation we just recently had with Congressman Bentz of Oregon to get the perspective of another member from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Congressman John Joyce of Pennsylvania's 13th Congressional District. So I'd like to introduce both Akash Chougule, our Vice President, and the Congressman, and then I'll kick it over to them to get the conversation started. Akash has served as a staff member at the U.S. House Committee on Education and Labor, and his work has been featured by Fox News to NPR to the Wall Street Journal to USA Today. He was also selected as Forbes magazine's 30 Under 30 for law and policy. And I am thrilled to introduce an AFP Pennsylvania ally, Congressman John Joyce. He's a graduate of Penn State and Temple Medical School. So he's one of a select group of members who has also worked as a physician. His service extended to the U.S. Navy at the Portsmouth Naval Hospital, and he also then went on to practice in private practice. He is currently serving his second term, and of particular importance for today's conversation, the Congressman serves on the Energy and Commerce Committee. So welcome to you both. Akash, I'm going to pitch it to you to get us started.
Sure. Thank you, Ashley, and thank you, Congressman, for joining us today. We know you've got a busy week up there with votes, so just wanted to get a few of your thoughts. Obviously, folks across the country are facing higher gas prices, up to $4.20, $4.30 a gallon. Overall, the average American will spend an additional $2,000 this year on higher gas prices alone. That will come on top of an additional $1,000 in higher grocery costs because of inflation, which obviously predated the conflict in Ukraine, which has made things worse as it pertains to gas prices. And particularly in your state, there's quite a bit of energy resources, as you well know, through your purge on the Energy Committee. So one of the things we're hearing from the administration, Congressman, is that President Biden says that there's nothing he can do about higher gas prices, but his administration has sort of, waged a campaign against traditional forms of energy, oil and gas, including in your state. So what are some of the things the administration has done that have inhibited the supply and raised the cost of energy in this country that's now worsening what we're seeing at the gas pump?
It's a great starting point in this conversation because you recognize for decades our ability to produce safe, dependable, and affordable energy, a critical component of Pennsylvania's economy, has helped to build American energy dominance. President Biden, unfortunately, has failed to support our baseload power producers like oil, coal, natural gas, and Marcellus Shale. Instead, his administration has orchestrated a war on American energy, and that's had devastating consequences. American families and businesses are struggling with higher prices. When I left Altoona, Pennsylvania, and filled up my Jeep yesterday, I paid over $4.30 a gallon. And we're beginning to no longer have that energy dominance that led to a safe and a global stage. Russia has been a providable source of energy in this energy problem because no longer the US has produced what we necessarily need here in America and worldwide. On day one, President Biden canceled the Keystone XL pipeline and showed that he wasn't serious about protecting our energy independence and our energy dominance. And so, as I noted, gas prices are skyrocketing, with oil prices up for heating, with the demand on the rise. Joe Biden is more interested in enacting Green New Deal initiatives than working for the American families. How can people get involved? It's a great question that you posed to us. By speaking with their elected officials, by making sure that every person supports energy from America, energy independence, and most important, energy dominance.
Absolutely. And you're hitting on a key theme, which is that our energy policy doesn't just have to do with our economic security, but also our national security and our place in the world. Obviously, Pennsylvania is impacted not just through higher gas prices, but even the jobs in the energy industry and others. So, as we get into the summer, what are some of the other places where these higher energy costs are going to start to have an impact beyond just filling up our tanks? Is there going to be an impact on food prices and the costs of other things that Americans need on a day-to-day basis?
Energy is needed to transport. Energy is needed to get the food to the grocery stores. Energy is needed to heat and in the summertime, cool our homes. We need to use those resources that are under the feet of my constituents in Pennsylvania. We need to use the natural gas, the coal, the Marcellus shale that once made America an energy dominant country. We need to return to that.
Absolutely. And so just really quickly, Congressman, what are some of the concepts or key bills that you're watching in Congress that you think could actually help move the situation forward and free up some of those energy resources? What do you want to see Congress and the administration do differently?
I want to see that we unleash American energy so that we can be that geopolitical source of energy for our allies and our friends in Europe. I want to see the ability to make natural gas a political problem solver, to be able to use those resources to support so many countries that right now are dependent on Russian energy supplies. We need to be their source of energy. We need to support our friends and allies with the abundant energy supplies that we have right here in America.
Akash, can you share what you think from Americans for Prosperity's perspective is the single most transformative legislation that Congress could advance this session?
Absolutely. There are two bills we're watching really closely. One is the Strategic Production Reserve Act, and then one is called the Unshackle Act. And what both of these bills would basically do is ensure that we are really maximizing our energy potential, as the Congressman touched on. In different ways, our public policy is inhibiting the ability of American workers to develop the energy that we have available to us because of antiquated regulations like the National Environmental Protection Act and other things that are really just getting in the way of American workers producing American energy. And that's causing higher prices, not just at the pump, but as the Congressman mentioned, higher prices for food, higher prices for other goods. And so the Unshackle Act, the Strategic Production Reserve Act are two bills that were really encouraging Americans to make their voice heard with their members of Congress.
Great. I so appreciate that. Congressman, I know you've got to get back to votes. I want to share with you an anecdote from a AFP activist as well as a small business owner in southwestern Pennsylvania and just ask you a final thought. Folks, you've been seeing in the chat as we have been together today, an action that you can take that will take under 60 seconds where you can scale your voice to your member, tell them to unleash American energy and end the costly regulations that are straddling and burdening this industry. But I want to share with you a testimonial that our chapter received over the weekend. This is from a mother and business owner named Robin. She said the skyrocketing fuel costs because of the administration's energy policies are affecting our business more than the COVID shutdowns. Our prices are going up quickly from materials we use in our business and automotive repair facility. Product costs are rising along with surcharges and delivery fees. We're having a difficult time passing those charges on to our customers to make up the difference. And as a small business, we can relate to our customers' financial struggles. We are already being impacted because unless a household absolutely needs 2 vehicles, they're waiting for repairs because they simply can't afford any other option. If our business declines, it's obviously going to affect us personally. As of now, we're cognizant that it could happen. We're rethinking purchases, vacations, and a remodeling project. I'm now planning my outings to make the most out of my trips. What once was just jumping in the car and going just doesn't happen in this new environment. So, Congressman, I know that folks like Robin are feeling the pain at the pump, at the grocery store, you name it. How critical is it that folks right now take time to scale their voice to their member? And do you think, we'd like your impression, is tweeting, is visiting an office, is sending a letter? What do you think makes the most difference?
I think the impact that needs to be heard from constituents, which is what we do from the 4 offices that we have in the district, as well as our office in Washington, D.C. Call your member of Congress, email your member of Congress, reach out to them, let them know how the inflationary costs of energy is impacting you, your family, and your businesses. Let members of Congress know that you are opposed to Green New Deal initiatives, that you support energy independence and energy dominance. Let your member of Congress know to utilize the energy resources that are under your feet. Allow that energy independence to be shared with the world, to allow American energy dominance to become our calling card to our friends and allies throughout the world.
Congressman, thanks so much. Akash, I'm going to give you and the Congressman the last word if you want one. I just want to encourage people again, take that action that we've dropped in the chat. It's going to send your member a note with 5 specific things they can support, and that includes restarting oil and gas leases on federal lands and waters while also approving the Keystone XL pipeline. Akash, I'll pitch it to you and then the Congressman for the last word.
Absolutely. Just want to say thank you for joining us, Congressman, and thank you for fighting for our values in Congress. Obviously, these are tough times for a lot of American families, and your voice up there means a lot on these important issues. So just thank you for joining us. Thank you for what you do.
And it's great to be with you. My parting message is energy dominance can lead to peace. We need to be the leader in utilizing those resources that God gave us dominion over. We can do that responsibly, safely, and America has the opportunity right now to share the abundant energy resources that we have throughout our country and throughout the world. Thank each and every one of you. God bless you.
Thanks again. We'll see you all soon.